What is going on, guys? Nathan here with a relatively quick Hearthstone video. In the next couple of days, Blizzard is actually going live with the Whispers of the Old Gods expansion, and before that happens, they've actually decided to nerf about 8 to 10 cards. And this video, in this video, I'd sort of like to explain my logic behind why you should actually disenchant 100% of those cards. Perhaps in a different video, I'll sort of discuss the nerfs that have been associated with these cards and whether they're good or bad. But in this video, I would just like to advise everybody to disenchant all of the cards that were nerfed. The reason behind this is that we'll just take Ancient of Lore, for example. Because the card was recently modified, you can actually disenchant it for its full value in dust. Now, what this means is that you can disenchant all of the nerf cards without losing anything. So basically, we have two situations here. And this is really if you strictly adhere to a sort of competitive meta and you like to be very dust efficient. Otherwise, if you don't care that much about how you use your dust, then this isn't that big of a deal. But let's say in the competitive meta, in the next couple of weeks, once the meta has sort of settled in both standard and wild, the new game mode that is being released, standard, let's say that Ancient of Lore is not used anymore. And I would probably expect this because this card actually is not that good anymore. What that means is that if Ancient of Lore is not used, then you have an extra 800 dust to craft on a better epic, basically. And if it is used in the competitive meta, let's say most druids run one of these. For example, I don't know if this is going to happen, I'm just sort of making things up. Let's say that druids tend to run one Ancient of Lore. Well, that means that you can go ahead and craft one of these at no loss, and you still have an extra 400 dust. If Ancient of Lore is still used, jam-packing two of them in every single druid deck, then you can go ahead and recraft both of them at no loss. And you can do this for every single card to basically just give you that extra little bit of dust if cards are not used anymore. For example, Keeper of the Grove may or may not be used still in druid decks. It's hard to say, but again, before Whispers of the Old Gods releases, and I believe you have until May 10th, that was what Reddit was sort of approximating where this disenchant value will go away. Just so that you have that extra little bit of dust, and you can go ahead and disenchant all these cards, and if they're still used, then you can go ahead and recraft them at no loss. It's just that in the meantime, while we wait for the meta to sort of settle, to sort of get a feel for what the standard meta is going to look like and the wild meta is going to look like, then in the meantime, we can't use these cards, but you will have that extra dust. So again, you know, if cards like this are used, go ahead and recraft them. Otherwise, if they're not used and you want to be really dust efficient, then you can go ahead and keep that extra dust to use on different cards. Now, what I would also recommend is actually keeping a spreadsheet of what you have disenchanted. So for example, these are all of the cards that were nerfed. And these are the number of cards that I have disenchanted, and this is the total amount of dust that has been gained from each of these disenchantments. So the gross dust that I have right now is 6,005, this number right here. And the nerfed cards, this value is all of these that have been summed up to this value. So I technically don't have this dust, actually. I might help to actually zoom in. Can I do that? I've never... There we go. This might be better. So this value of 3920, I technically don't have this dust because this was previously sunk into those into all of these cards. So I'm going to just say that, all right, I don't want to mess with that dust at all, because if I want to actually recraft all of these, then I don't want to go ahead and spend this dust that I have right now. So we're going to go ahead and subtract these two values, and what I actually have, the dust that I actually have to play with right now is not 6,005, but 2,085, these two values subtracted. So it's good to just sort of keep a tally on the dust that you actually have to sort of play with versus what was actually sunk into those cards, because again, we don't really know what's going to be meta anymore. This meta right now, where these changes have gone live, are just it's a very weird meta. So we're just going to wait for all of the dust to settle. Again, if you don't really care about the competitive meta, then go ahead and keep all these cards. You know, who cares? But again, if you want to be dust efficient and sort of not keep the cards that you need, then go ahead and disenchant what you want. So that's the video, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.